Hey everyone, welcome to the Wilson Homestead. So today's video is going to be a little bit all over the place because I have quite a few little projects that I need to do, and I just thought that I would bring you along. First off, we're going to start with braiding onions. I have these beautiful Patterson onions here that I picked out of my garden a few weeks ago. I put them on my covered porch to dry, and they are pretty dry. They might be too dry to braid, but I'm going to try it anyway. I just watched a video on Garden Answer, and Laura was braiding garlic, and I thought, well, I'm going to do that with some of my onions because I think it's a really pretty way to display them, to have like this big long hanging braid of onions, and hopefully it works as well with onions as it did with garlic. Now, my garlic, I can't braid what I grew this year because I grew a hardneck variety, so you can't braid it. But I have placed an order for some soft neck varieties for next year, so hopefully I'll have some pretty nice garlic braids next year. But let's start out with these onions and see what kind of damage I can do here. I have a couple pieces of butcher twine here. In the video that I watched, she used jute twine, which probably would look a lot prettier. But this is the only thing that I had on hand, so hopefully it works just as well. We're going to start out at the bottom and tie 3 of the onions together to start our braid. And then once we get the entire thing braided, we'll have to use another piece for the top. But anyway, what she did in the video was she started out with 2 and she made it into an X like that. Now this is going to be a really messy job, I can see already. Making a horrible mess here. And then she put 1 in the middle, which since these onions are so heavy, I don't know how well that's going to work. I think I would be better off just to pull these tight and just tie it and see how that goes. This is going to be one of those fiddly jobs that drives me crazy. I can see that already. This could be a total disaster. This is not a how-to video, by the way, because I don't have a clue of what I'm doing. Okay, so we got that done. I'm just going to trim off these ends here. Now, for the braiding. Now I've got to separate these out into 3 places like that. And you're going to add onions right, left, center, and every time you're going to line it up with the middle stalk. So it looks like I should put one in the center first. I'm going to line it up with the middle stalk, and then I'm going to take this side and bring it over and pull that one under. So now this becomes the center. Okay, now we're going to add another one over here. Bring the stalk up the center, and then bring this over top, and then this one becomes the middle piece. And I'm just going to keep doing that right, left, center process all the way up the braid, hopefully. And hopefully we will have a nice looking braid at the end of this. Okay, now that I have all of my onions in this braid, I am going to go ahead and continue on braiding the leaves that are left. This is so hard to do. I think I let them dry out a little too much because they're just falling apart. I bet whenever I pick this braid up, they might just all fall to the floor. Okay, and once I have that done, I'm just going to fold it down, and I'm going to take my other piece of string and secure it. If you hear a dog, Cairo is right below me. I'm on the front porch and she's down underneath the porch. She's mad because the cat's up here on the porch and she's not allowed up here. Hiccup's up here with me and they don't get along, so only one of them get to be on the porch at a time. Okay, so we've got that tied and I should be able to hang it right here from this loop. I'm so nervous to pick this thing up, but let's try it and see what happens. Now, I forgot to tell you, before I started braiding these, I did brush some of the dirt that was still left on here off of these, and I trimmed the roots off of the onions. So, let's pick this braid up and see if it falls completely apart. It worked! Look how pretty that is. I love it. Can you imagine that hanging in the kitchen? That looks so nice. I'm very proud of myself. And look at the back of it. You can actually see the braid back there. I am so pleased with that. I thought it was going to be a complete disaster, but it turned out pretty good. Okay, so the next project I think we're going to do is we're going to go down to the garden and harvest a few things that need picked. Look at this craziness that I have going on my front porch. 3 baby robins. It seems pretty late in the year. I don't really know. Like, we're at September 19th right now. Should I have babies on my porch at this time of the year? I don't know, but the mama decided that it's a good time, so hopefully she gets them raised before it gets really cold. It is a couple days later. I ran out of daylight after I got my onions braided. So we're down here in the vegetable garden and I'm going to harvest all I can before it gets dark. By the time I get home from work, in these shorter daylight hours, I'm like really limited with the amount of time that I get to spend down here. You can see that the sunflowers are flopped over the pathway. The seeds are starting to get ripe and heavy, so I will have to be harvesting those sunflower heads pretty soon, and I will give you a closer look at the bean trellis, but there are a lot of beans hanging off of there. This is the best that it's ever done. The vast majority of those plants in there are Kentucky Wonder pole beans, and they do so well here. These few beans at the front of the cattle panel are sunset runner beans, and I have quite a few of them on here that I'm just going to let them get ripe so I can save the seeds out of them. And there's a couple that are getting pretty close. They're not quite dry yet. You want to leave them on the plant until they are like dry and crunchy. Got my helper down here. He's always under my feet. But let's take a look up here at all of these Kentucky Wonder pole beans hanging down that I need to pick. That is going to be a pretty good harvest of those. I love how once they get to the top, like the beans just hang down for you to pick them. So cool. I love being under this little arch trellis. You can see the beans are kind of getting sick, but we're nearing our first frost, so this stuff isn't long for this world anyway. Well, that was a lot of beans off of those plants. I would say I have probably a little over a gallon of beans in there. These beans right here are the ones that I planted after I pulled my garlic out. I pulled it out, I think it was the second week of July, and they're starting to produce, but they're not quite big enough yet. I'll be able to pick these next week. Quite a few beans in there. That's the good thing about planting bush beans, is because if you just have a short amount of time left, it's like as long as you have around 55 days or so, you can get a crop. I've got a couple beds of green beans over here that are still producing that I planted earlier. I'm going to have to go through and pick all of these. I thought that these would be done producing by now, but they just keep going and going and going. My carrots that I planted alongside of the tomatoes are really starting to get big now. These are ready to pick, I know, but they can keep longer than the rest of the stuff that I have to pick today, so there'll be another project for another time. More beans in there. Beans everywhere. I think I went overboard planting green beans this year. I have canned so many, and they just keep producing and producing. Oh look, I found a snack. Yummy. The globe amaranth is still looking spectacular. I just saved this little guy from the cat. I don't know if he got injured or not, I hope not, but look how cute he is. He's only about the size of my fingernail. Look at my walkway here. It got taken over by zinnias and basil. I have to pull it apart before I can walk through. I'm going to go through these bean beds and pick what I can, and then we will move on to something else. I also just noticed that all of my grapes are ready to be picked. So this is going to be a very, very busy weekend for me. These are Concord grapes, so I will juice these and then I will make some jelly. Oh my gosh, you guys, these beans have went crazy this year. I just picked like 2 more gallons of beans and I'm starting to run out of room in my tub. So I want to get a few more things while we're down here, and then I will have to pick this back up tomorrow because it is getting dark. This garden is so wild, you can hardly see the walkway anymore. My peppers are flopping over. I have some King of the North bell peppers here that need picked. Some Golden California Wonder bell peppers down there. Oh my gosh, they're just everywhere. Banana peppers. And I have Big Red somewhere. I think that might be a Big Red right there. Look at that massive thing. Plus, the Fulja jalapenos. Still cranking out like crazy. I'll have another huge harvest of these before the frost. And these are nice peppers. Look at that. And Fajir Ozon just is disappointing. Look, see, they just rot. They rot on the plant before they get ripe. So, I'm not growing that variety anymore. I give up. Throwing in the towel. The last video that I showed you with the Golden California Wonder bell peppers, I said that most of them were pretty small, like this. But there are some humongous ones on here this time. So I'm going to save seeds from this one here. That is a bunch of good looking peppers right there. Look how big that one is. I got another giant one here. Very nice. Now I'm going to pick a couple tomatoes and then I'm going to go in for the night because it's really dark out here. It got dark on me whenever I started picking the few tomatoes that were left down there. I wanted to show you, I picked some of these. These are triple crop tomatoes, these red ones. And I'm so glad that I planted these. I was complaining earlier that these were the last tomatoes to produce in my garden, but I'm glad they were slow to produce because these are the last ones I'm pulling out of the garden, and it's nice to still be able to have a tomato sandwich this close to frost. I did pick a couple hillbilly tomatoes right here and one Paul Robeson, but that's pretty much it for the tomatoes. There might be a few more Juliet tomatoes down there to pick, but the tomato season has come to an end. But these peppers, oh my gosh, there are so many green peppers left down there that I need to finish picking. So I'm going to continue this video for another day. This wasn't supposed to be a harvest video, but that is exactly what it's turning into because I didn't realize how much stuff that I had down in the garden that needed to be picked. So, see you again tomorrow. Alright, that does it for the grape harvest. I feel like they would produce a lot better if I actually knew how to prune them correctly, but I did get a couple pretty good clusters. So hopefully this will be enough to make a little bit of jelly. I have one more project that I want to do before I end this video. I just got done cleaning all of my garlic, taking the stems off and cutting the roots off and cleaning them up a little bit. I got some pretty nice cloves in here. All of these bigger ones are going to be split apart and then I will plant them for next year's harvest. They will be getting planted probably within the next week or two. But I have all of these leftover stems from the garlic. I grow hardneck variety, so I thought, wow, these kind of look like little corn stalks. So maybe I can put together a little fall decoration for my front porch. So that's what we're going to do right now. I have these 3 little pots right here that my mom got me for Christmas last year, and I think that they are so cute. And I think that they will be the perfect container to put some of these garlic stalks in. I also went out and picked some of my Gomphrena Globe Amaranth, and I thought that that would be cool to put around the edges. Like, I'll put the garlic stalks in the middle and then put these around the edges to add a pop of color. So let's see how it turns out. Okay, I'm going to start with my little stalks first. I don't know how long. I might have to trim them down a little bit. That kind of looks too tall for these containers. Yeah, I think I'll cut them back. I'm going to have such a mess. This should be fun to do. Hiccup's right here beside of me. So I'm sure that he's going to want to try to help. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Hey now, no clawing. No, you leave my flowers alone, please. What a brat. Hopefully I have enough of these. I'll probably end up using all of them. Okay, I think like that full is going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of these with the garlic stalks, and then I will get back with you in a second. Okay, now I'm going to start adding in the Globe Amaranth. I have purple and white here. Well, I guess you would probably call that like a fuchsia color. It's really pretty, and I probably should have dried these before using them, but oh well. We'll just see how well they hold up. I'm just going to start sticking these around the edge. Might have to trim a few of them. This is way better than throwing your garlic stalks on the compost pile. Look how cute they turned out. Which, when I'm done with them, I will throw them on the compost pile, but now I can enjoy them for a little bit before that happens. I never thought that dried garlic stalks would make such a cute little arrangement. So happy with it. Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time here on the Wilson Homestead. Bye guys.